Hello YouTube, my name's Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Infinite Warfare playing the multiplayer beta. And what I thought we'd do for this video is actually discuss the best perk here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So for me, it was a very easy conclusion to come to. It was very obvious to me right away which perks are good in this game versus which perks are bad, which to Infinity Ward's credit, there are a lot of good perks in this game, but one perk, in my opinion, stands out above the rest of them. Now, it is important to remember that we are in beta. Right now, the current level cap is 30, therefore we don't have access to the final 3 perks. Those perks are going to be Overclock, Scavenger, as well as Dead Silence, but we know what those perks do. We've seen them in Call of Duty years past. We know how they're going to impact the game, and while they will have a good impact, it's not going to be the biggest impact in the world, especially as compared to this perk. It's also important to remember that yes, while this is beta, the game probably isn't going to be having any major sweeping changes, especially to the perk system, between now, October 21st, and the release date of the game, November 4th. There just simply isn't enough time for them to make any major changes, so what you see is kind of what you get. In my personal opinion, the best perk here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is hands down Ghost. Ghost is the best perk here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for public matches, right? The game that 99.9% of fans play. Of course, this isn't necessarily relevant to game battles or competitive Call of Duty or anything like that, but for public matches, Ghost is the best perk in this game because it hides you from the UAV, as well as a couple of traits from different combat rigs. So for example, Warfighter, which is one of the most popular combat rigs in the game right now, he has a trait called Ping, which every time he gets a kill or an assist, it's going to ping that area of the map and reveal people there, kind of like a mini UAV. Ghost counters that. Striker has a trait called Relay, which is also countered by Ghost, but by the very nature that so many people play as Warfighter, you're going to see a giant increase in the value of Ghost because so many people are going to be running Ping, and a lot of people are also going to be running Relay. It's just the very nature of the game. People are going to gravitate towards their favorite combat rigs. These are two pretty popular ones, and therefore the value of Ghost is going to go up even more than what it was previously, just by hiding you from the UAV. But don't get me wrong, hiding you from the UAV is a ridiculously big benefit. To Infinity Ward's credit, it doesn't appear that the Ghost perk is going to counter the advanced UAV, which is a kill streak that is going to be basically Infinite Warfare's take on the Blackbird/Orbital VSAT from previous Call of Duty games, but we can't really confirm that because unfortunately the advanced UAV is actually blocked off in the beta. We're gonna have to wait until November 4th to actually be able to play around with the advanced UAV and see how it's going to interact with Ghost. But right now, Ghost hides you from UAVs, it hides you from Ping, it hides you from Relay. You don't need to be moving, you can just stand there still and it's going to hide you from the UAV, and that is ridiculously beneficial. There are a number of other great perks in this game. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say like Ghost is like the greatest perk in the history of Call of Duty. It just is, in my opinion, the best one here in Infinite Warfare. There are a number of other great ones, especially in the perk 1 category. We have Dexterity, for example, which is going to give you faster reloads and weapon swaps, which is ridiculously good. I have that on just about every single one of my classes paired up with Ghost because that combination is very, very nice. Flash Shield is also very good because it's basically Infinite Warfare's take on Flak Jacket, but also it's important to remember that in Infinite Warfare we have a pick 10 system, and because of that pick 10 system, we are not required to have a perk 1. So indirectly, Ghost is competing with every other perk in the game as to whether or not it's going to make its way into your custom class. So in some of the other perk categories, we have Tac Resist, which is really good. We have Hardline, Gung Ho, Marksman, Hardwired, Dead Silence, which we don't have access to right now, but I'm sure it's going to be good in the full version of the game. These are great perks. They all have very good benefits, but in my opinion, they're just not as good as Ghost. Ghost is far too powerful in public matches because one of the ways that I like to play is I like to flank around a lot of the time. You'll rarely find me in like the dead center of the map unless I'm using a shotgun where I'm always running, but even in this gameplay, like you guys are seeing me constantly trying to go around, flank them, and shoot them in the back with a shotgun. Ghost makes it so I can do that consistently and without fear. I see a lot of people making the mistake of thinking that they need to have a silencer on their weapon to get the full benefit of the Ghost perk. I don't necessarily agree with that because how I play the game is I use the fact that I'm on the minimap to my advantage. This is something that I kind of picked up in Call of Duty 4 and World at War back when you had to basically use either Stopping Power or Juggernaut, and UAV Jammer or Camouflage, as I think it was called in Call of Duty World at War. Those were kind of useless ridiculous in those games. You need to have stopping power or a jug. So what I do is I use Ghost in these current Call of Duty games. I flank around, I shoot somebody in the back, and then I know that they know where I am. They know that I just shot. They know I'm in this area, and I use that to my advantage. But they don't actually have an exact idea of where I'm at because I'm using Ghost, right? It's a ridiculously good perk, whether you're using a silencer or not. Either way, it's very, very powerful, and that is why, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, Ghost is the best perk here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and you unlock it relatively early, like in the 20s, I think. I couldn't find the exact level that you actually unlock it, but it's pretty quick. It's not one you have to wait very long for, but that may actually change in the full version of the game. They could have just made it so we unlock perks earlier on in the beta so we can actually get access to a lot of them, because at level 30, you have access to every perk in the game with the exception of 3, so I have a feeling they just accelerated the rate at which we can actually earn these things. But it's a very good perk. You get it relatively early on, and in my opinion, it's the best perk here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. But ladies and gentlemen, I would love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section below. What perk is the best perk here in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare? And a better question, honestly, do you think Ghost should even be in Call of Duty anymore? Like, I think that's a very good topic, because ever since they got rid of stopping power and Juggernaut, the value of the Ghost perk has gone up substantially. Every single Call of Duty game, Ghost is in there, and it's always one of the best perks in that game, with the exception of Call of Duty Ghosts, ironically, because that game didn't have proper UAVs, they had SATCOMs, but still, it's a very powerful perk in every single game, almost mandatory in my opinion. Like, every game I run it because it's too good not to, and there's really no other good perks to try and compare it with. Like in Black Ops 3, for example, I could use the Ghost perk as well as Flak Jacket. Like, I didn't have to make a choice between the two because of the pick 10 system. So every single game, it just seems like it's a very viable option, and it's a very good option, so it's like, why not use it? But ladies and gentlemen, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Drop me a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.